It's happy hour again at the Banter Bar.
I know. Why are you by yourself again? Come on.
Well, hey, Shane, you don't have to do this alone. I'm here. And I thought I should be here because I think that some of the viewers out there, y'all deserve fair warning of what's to come in this episode, because some of y'all come for the comedic relief, and this warning's for you. Some of y'all out there are beer snobs just like Shane, and that's okay. This episode's going to be right up your alley. But for the rest of us, I think that if we're going to have any fun, we should probably go ahead and take a drink every time Shane says the word copper, coriander, carbonation, mouthfeel, fill, whatever the fuck he's saying. I don't know, maybe even gaucho, you know? And I'm going to be here. I'm going to answer questions with you, Shane. Okay? Put a little ladies' touch on this episode. And let me fix my fucking chair. Okay. Let's do this.
Today is something special.
Today is just a single brewery. Now, I went here myself, out in Broken Bow, Oklahoma, that area. I went to this brewery and I picked up some beers. I walked into this place, which was an impressive bar that they have. You can just grab single cans anywhere you want. They didn't have holders. No one was trying to help me. I grabbed a shit ton of beer, and eventually the manager came over and gave me like a box to carry all this stuff in. And she sent me to the bar. Like, don't go through the normal line. You've got a lot of stuff. Go to the bar. So I went to the bar, and the reason that I'm telling this story is because a few of these were a little more expensive than I was anticipating. They didn't have prices listed anywhere that I saw. You know, I could just be an idiot, and that's the case. I am a Texan, after all. Do not hold it against me too much. But yeah, I basically wanted to sit down today by myself.
Oops.
And see what I thought. So no one else's influence. There's no cabin trip happening right now. It's just me and 6 of your beers, Mountain Fork. And I want to see how it goes. I also brought receipts, or just a single receipt. We're going to look at cost as part of this evaluation. I will rate based on taste, but the viewers will also know how much these things cost. And I'm making this sound somewhat negative, that some of the beers were more pricey. Most of them were perfectly reasonable. I just didn't realize that I was grabbing a few that were top tier. Usually those are in bigger bottles, or there's some sort of warning or something, so I didn't know. And of course you get to the line and hell yeah, I'm going to pay for it because I'm not going to take it back. Oh, that's too expensive. Anyway, so first up, we have the Timber Creek Ale, which is an amber ale from Mountain Fork Brewery. Question is, what's the sexiest piece of clothing a person can wear? So the Timber Creek costs $2.50 for the can. That's not out of the ordinary if you're buying cans on their own. Perfectly reasonable. I will say up front, this smells pretty fantastic. It has a coriander note to it.
Drink coriander.
That means there's something almost orange-esque about it. Not the tart citrus thing, but the earthy note of an orange. That's what I'm getting here. Let's look. Okay. Don't care where your water comes from. Creatively crafted beer with me in mind. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure you were just waiting on me to get up there. What I think they're saying, though, to not be a complete dick about the way that people word things on these bottles, or these cans, or whatever it is that they're most likely brewing things that they want to drink. And Can't knock them for that. Lacing is great. It smells like it's going to be almost heavy-bodied, a little over medium. I like the flavor. I like the mouthfeel.
Mouthfeel drink.
The aftertaste is not exactly what I was expecting. It's almost in the wheat category. But amber is definitely there. You can tell it's a darker roast. Not dark, but not light, obviously. Yeah, super drinkable. It has no Scotch burn or anything. The spice notes are still there. I'm digging this. There is that American beer quality to it after a while, so I don't want to go too crazy. It has the coppery thing going that I like. That sounds
Copper
strange
drink.
if you're new here, but...
We are not going to last, y'all.
Yeah. I'm going to say 6. I think it's good. Sexiest piece of clothing a person can wear. No, I am not going to mention gauchos again.
But he did say it. Drink.
I will say I find the color white extremely attractive clothing color. So usually if it's something simple, it could be anything. You know, it could be fishnets or a dress or anything that's white. It just captures my attention. I don't know why. But yeah, just a white top, some white panties. I love that. That's sexy as hell to me.
My answer is going to be some blue jeans.
Next up is the Rooster, which is a Mexican-style ale. And the can is not telling me anything different. Both of these are 4.5%. Question is, what do you think of as red flags when it comes to coworkers? Now, what strikes me immediately is, I know it said Mexican style, right? It also said ale. And ale can range from this lighter stuff. There is a plane passing over my house right now. Apologies. I know it says Mexican style, but it also says ale, and ale can range from this color up to almost as dark as this, and which actually ale can be a full range. It doesn't matter. When you look at the can and the coloring on the can, you might not expect something this light, so Mexican style is definitely going to be the giveaway. Something I'm noticing about their beers so far today is they are clean. They have that clean smelling quality, which means that they are using... Usually the cans are just bullshit, right? It's brewed in the Rockies. Yeah. No, this is good water, I think, is what they're using. It's very specific, and you can tell that the ingredients that they're using, they care about it. Anyway, it smells very clean. It smells European more so than it does Mexican.
Y'all know what the hell he's talking about? Me neither.
And it tastes more European than it does Mexican. But that is still a great beer. Easy to drink. Has the right mouthfeel. The weight of it is perfect. The carbonation is right. This one is firing on a lot of cylinders. And because it's so easily drinkable, that first sip is a bit deceiving. It made me think that the flavor was not there as much as I wanted it to be. I still have no idea why this is named what it is, but it's damn good. Malty. There is, again, it's a spice note. I keep saying coriander. There's another one there that I always forget to
Drink.
bring up, but yeah, it's really good. I wouldn't say special. I will give you a 7 on that one. So great does mirror my feelings there. And this one's $2.50 as well. So That's a steal. What do you think of as red flags when it comes to coworkers? One thing I hate in a workplace is once you've gauged what type of job it is, like, is this job going to be fun? Or is this job going to be a slog? Or is it, you work when you have to work and the rest of the time, whatever. Once you have gauged that, you can tell really quickly who you're going to get along with and who you're not. I hate ass kissers. I can't stand it. I hate people that are interjecting themselves all the time, no matter what. It just feels annoying. If you are doing a great job at a place where, they're checking that you're doing a great job, which is most places, you'll get noticed. Your hard work will pay off. You don't have to kiss ass all the time, but I see so many people in the workplace who do that. And they tend to be the same people who don't want to do most of the work. They'll put it off on other people. These are the people who, if you're giving an option of a specific kind of work, they will look for what gets them the most attention, but is also the easiest thing to do. What makes them look best when the numbers are run at the end of the month, even though they've done the least amount of work. And managers who are inexperienced won't notice that, and they might like feeling that they have a friend in the workplace. The rest of us fucking hate you. Stop it.
I don't have an answer to this question because I don't work.
Next up is the Sneaky Snake, which is a Belgian-style golden ale. And hopes are very high here. One, because we have another type coming up, but also because this one felt closer to Belgian than to Mexican. The normal Sneaky Snake is $3.50. So maybe higher quality. They're asking a bit more for it. This one is $4. I don't know if there's a difference between the two. We'll see. Question is, what do you think of people who seem to love animals more than other humans? Golden. Golden makes me think wheat chaff. That's kind of how it smells too. Again, great lacing. So you can tell it's a high quality beer that's hopped right. They care about the ingredients. Okay. Super malty. First and foremost, that's what I get. So I was expecting wheat. I got a heavy dose of malt. That's never been my favorite mouthfeel in a beer. You can get away with it in some darker beers. With something light or golden like this, it just feels unnecessary. It's almost imperial hops type thing. Not my favorite thing. And I like malt shakes, I like malt flavor in general, but this is a bit much. But if you are someone who wants a lighter beer that has a very rich mouthfeel, this isn't a bad option.
Right.
Most people who don't like beer will not like this. I can tell you that straight away. Really? Alcohol in this is 8.9%. This one is 10%. Maybe that's the difference. That's super high. Maybe that's why it's as malty as it is to hide the sheer amount of alcohol that's in it. I would have run with the alcohol. But that's me. If I have to say something nice about this, I will say it feels pretty original. You don't get many beers that are golden, Belgian, and have this very heavy malt sensation and are this high in alcohol content. It may seem like some of those things come from Belgian beers, and to an extent they do. This is more like a unibrow beer without some of the ashiness. So depending on where you are, this isn't a drink anytime beer, is what I'm trying to say. It's savory type of heavy mouthfeel, heavy flavor.
Damn it, Shane. Drink.
What you would think is a light beer. It's totally not. I have to go 5 on that one. I don't find it off-putting. I definitely don't find it forgettable. It's not my bag right now. What do you think of people who seem to love animals more than other humans? This is tough, and I think this is tough because I'm one of those people who doesn't believe that life has an inherent purpose. I think you have to decide what your own purpose is or what you believe purpose to be. It makes sense if you are just going about daily life and the creatures who can't fend for themselves, take up for themselves, who might easily be killed off by certain humans, and you care for them, and you don't, maybe you even hate the people in question. Like take your favorite pet and take the person you like least on the planet. I completely understand. I personally feel a stronger connection to this pet and want to preserve it and protect it more than I do that person. The problem for me always comes down to thinking about more than myself. If it came down to I'm one of the last few people on the planet and it's that asshole that I can't stand or my pet that has to go, I'm going to look out more for the human because I think preservation of human level consciousness is more important. But in day-to-day life, I get it. I once had guinea pigs as pets and they meant a great deal to me. I know people who lose animals on occasion and people don't seem to understand. And I think that's because they've never been in the position of having a pet pass away. I was really close to a dog when I was young. That was one of my sister's pets. And it hurts. It hurts in a way that is sometimes more real than when you lose a fellow human being. And that's because a lot of human beings don't feel like your fellows. They don't feel much like you in general. You might despise who they are. And it's harder to do that with animals. But that's my take.
My answer is that those people are trash.
Next up is the Black Label Sneaky Snake, which still says it's a Belgian style golden ale. Looks like this one is just let go a little longer so that it gets from the 8.9 all the way up to 10% ABV, alcohol by volume. So this is definitely different, just by the look. I mean, it almost doesn't lace at all. It's probably going to be much less carbonated.
Carbonated. I forgot about that one. I don't know if he said it before. But he just said it now. So drink.
The smell is still there, so I know exactly what I'm getting. It's just if you had them in a cup side by side, you could actually tell the difference. This one's going to be very heady. A lot of bubbles up top. This one, not so much. It's barely there. It's got a soda-like impression, which might be good in this case because the bubbles, the preservation of the hop oil on top is really, I think, highlighting the malt, which may be why I didn't like it. But also, higher alcohol content tends to mean that it's going to burn more. Again, this is a $4 can. Question is, what sort of contest would you consider entering? If you're just here to see the beer ratings and, hear what people think, or hear what I think, go into the comments section. Let me know. So, not just what you think about the beers, but answer the questions too. We're here to have fun. We're here for a conversation. That's the point of the show.
Well, we're having fun, Shane. You're giving us alcohol poison.
Okay.
Cheers.
So I was right. It's easier to drink. It feels more like they focus less on carbonation.
Carbo-fucking-nation. Drink.
And the hop oil almost has a coconut quality to it. You still get this golden ale. There is quite a bit of malt, but it feels nicer. And you could get pretty fucked up on this pretty quick. I don't think it's astounding. It's a little too flat. And I know I just sounded like I liked the flat quality to it. I don't. I like the coconut smooth sensation that's coming off the top. The mouthfeel is okay. It's that
Mouthfeel.
After I've, taken a drink, the way it hangs around is just not, it's not perfect, is to say. has that alcohol burn, almost like you're drinking wine or maybe even a lower proof liquor, which is probably what you're going for if you're buying a $4 can. That one, I will actually go up and say 6 on that one. So I'm not wowed by it. The base beer is still what it is, and it's not bad. I think, again, if you are in the right mood, like what it reminds me of somewhat is Oktoberfest in a way, and that may have just sold you on these two right here. And if you are looking for a get hammered at Oktoberfest beer, it's right here. But if the carbonation on this isn't up to snuff for you, you don't want it like a coconut milk smooth type thing, go for just the normal one. These are definitely unique beers. So I've tried a lot of beers, and these are different. They're even different from one another. It's very odd. And by odd, I mean impressive. What sort of contest would you consider entering? I have never thought about this sort of question.
Easy beauty contest.
I hear people in my life talk about eating contests. And what else is there?
Beauty!
I think at some point I would have wanted to say like a pot pepper eating contest, because I seem to handle those a little better than some people. But having watched the videos on them, I'm absolutely terrified of that. Those people look like they are dying when they do that stuff.
Just say beauty, Shane. You could win.
For me, it would probably be something to do with video games. I don't know what that would be, but I wouldn't be opposed to much of anything. Unless it's tower defense, I'm probably down to try whatever your contest is. So, or maybe if you're seeing who can put together like a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle the fastest, I could get into that. I would lose, but I'd have fun while I was doing it. And next up is the barrel-aged Wee Heavy, which is an American Scotch-style ale. If memory serves, Scotch-style ales are beers that they brewed and then put in Scotch barrels. Which, if you don't know what Scotch barrels are, they are whiskey barrels that were charred on the inside, basically lit on fire and put out, and then they put the whiskey into them and let the whiskey age while the wood breathes. That's what gives Scotch its flavor a lot of the time. The natural flavor, not the added peat flavor that makes it taste like a campfire. You'd think it would be the charred barrel that does it, but as far as I can tell, it's not. So, hit or miss with these. This one is where we start to get into surprise territory. This was a $10 can. So we're going to see in a minute. Question is, have you run over an animal while driving? And with any luck, this will make me forget about my answer. Still going up in ABV. This one's 11.7%. I have to say, I think Mountain Fork was trying to prove something for the state of Oklahoma, and you're definitely doing it. I was raised in Texas where everyone talked about how weak your beers were, and Lord Almighty, I'm feeling myself right now. So let's go up to 11.7%. We're almost to wine territory. Holy shit. Okay. So I think what's going on here is they really love the natural notes that you get from the beer after it's brewed. So say something like this. They brew a beer, they put it in the Scotch barrels, they bottle or can it, and the reason why you're not getting this heavy carbonation thing is they're not force carbonating it. A lot of brews are force carbonated, or they add sugar on the back end to make sure that it's bottle or can carbonated. You don't get that here. It's fairly flat. It again looks more like a soda that's just been poured.
Pause now for a refill. I'm going.
It smells caramel. You get right off the top of a Wee Heavy every time, but you also get this deep liquor thing happening. not whiskey, not Scotch. There's another one there, and I'm blanking right now. I apologize. Brandy? Brandy is what you get. So like caramel and brandy in a beer. There's almost a raisin quality to it. Let's see what it tastes like. Okay. So the coconut thing continues here. And it continues here in a nice way. I was very surprised because you say Scotch style ale and I immediately think it's going to burn my mouth somewhat. It didn't do that. The mouthfeel was immediately like a brown ale, which I tend to like, but it's got a lot of caramel quality to it, a lot of coconut quality to it. The smell is a little off-putting, but you don't really get that as much. So the raisin, the Scotch quality to it, the brandy quality, they're just barely there. This is nice. Is it $10 per can nice? I think that depends on your palate. It again feels unique. I haven't had a wee heavy this good, maybe ever. You don't see a lot of them. I know I've had a few that were pretty good. And for a beer that's not really well carbonated, which I tend to like.
Carbonated.
I can't believe I feel so good about this. It's like salted caramel with coconut milk. Yeah. If I'm ever up there again, I would drop $10 on a can of this for sure. I'm not going overboard though. I don't think it's near perfect. I think what it is an 8. Special is a perfect characterization of this beer. Very, very different. Congrats, Mountain Fork. That was a fantastic experience. Have I ever run over an animal while driving? Yes. I'm sure there are stories I could think of if I thought long enough on it. What always comes to mind is I was driving from Kansas back to Texas at night and kept hitting possums. It happened 3 or 4 times in the span of 2 hours. And it's not like me. I will slow down. I will move if it's safe, I'll hit an animal if I have to, right, to keep from causing a wreck or anything like that. But, even with my brights on at night, I couldn't see them. They would just, boom, they're right there. And then I had a flat about an hour after, I stopped hitting all of the possums and had to go change my tire in the dark. And I don't think there was anything there that, I wasn't getting blood and guts everywhere, but it definitely was not a good experience. A memorable one for sure. So props to the beer for being better than that story.
I hit a bird once.
And the final beer we have for this episode is Papa's Buck Snort, I think is what it's called. Pappy's. Excuse me. Pappy's Buck Snort. My cousin Corey, the Idaho hillbilly, as seen right here.
I buy Keystone. Love y'all. Drink Keystone, baby.
He would not be happy with me for confusing Poppy with Pappy, but that's a story for another time. And this one cost a whopping $18 for the can. I'm going to read it if you don't mind, viewers. Pappy was one of last old-time cattlemen who made a living on cows and hay. He liked his old charter. He would get with his good buddies and head to the horse races. He also loved to go up to mountains and deer hunt. I think it's a space issue, but for some reason whoever wrote this, they had an aversion to using the word "the" because it's missing in a few places. This is a stout aged in whiskey barrels. So again, somewhat like this, but it's a very dark beer. Like a Guinness is what it should be. and in whiskey barrels. So they haven't been charred inside. They were just used to age whiskey. And it's 11%. So a little less alcohol than this one, which is probably good news for me. Our question is, what's your favorite film series? I was worried there for a second, but it actually did start to develop some head and some lacing. So, Pappy's Buck Snort. Double-aged stout aged in whiskey barrels. Now, the color doesn't give most of that away. Some of the residual dark that hangs around in the lacing kind of does. But I mean, if I just saw this in a glass, I would think I can get a fucking 40 of Guinness Stout for like $3. It's $18. I'm again just going to judge the beer, but just so you know, $18. It smells very heavy. It has the raisin quality to it as well. More so than the rest, this one, the alcohol kicks through. It tastes more like a wine, like a chocolate wine. And I think the reason I would say wine is because it's not overly carbonated. All right. There's chocolate and coffee in the after flavor. Up front, it's raisin and red wine. Now, if we just sit on this for a minute, the after flavor is extremely nice. So if you were just taking a sip of this every few minutes, it's still there. It's still kicking me. It's changing from coffee, or it's changing from chocolate to coffee, somewhat to cherry, back to coffee. That's a nice after flavor. The scent and the mouthfeel, they all feel under par. It may be that with stouts, I'm used to the cream or the milk, and you don't get that here. It is genuinely a stout, but that after flavor is exquisite. Now, truth be told, before now, the most expensive little bottle or can, 12 ounce that I bought before now was $10. And it just tasted like prune juice. I won't tell you what it is. Maybe we'll try it again someday.
You sneak.
But never again. This one, maybe you could drink it so slowly.
You can drink it so slow.
Because of the after flavor, that you might get that sort of value on it. And the ABV is really good. I'm going to come back to this one. If this was $10 as well, I think I'd feel better about it. They're really selling you on, a cool can. I don't know who keeps cans, but if you do, that's a kick-ass can. I'll hold it for you in case you want it. Just let me know, and if I've still got it, it's yours.
You better get that can, honey.
So, no, I wouldn't buy it again for $18 unless I was with people who really appreciated beer. So, no way in hell the majority of people that I'm used to having drinks at random with that I'm ever going to buy this for them. And that's the point. You go to this brewery and they say, hey, do you know we have an $18 can?
You better know it. $18.
And it's a bit of a hype because for half the price, pretty much, you can get this beautiful monster. But again, the after flavor of this is wonderful. It's the scent and the mouthfeel where it's somewhat let down.
Cheers.
I hate to do it because that after flavor is so good, but 6. If you are drinking very slowly and you don't care about the weight of something in your mouth or the way it presents up front, that's going to be a 7 for you. It may even be higher if you just love the aftertaste. Problem for me, again, if it's Christmas time and you're buying like cordial cherries, you spend $2 on a box, you eat one of them bastards.
Oh, who's gonna eat just one? Get real.
That probably cost you, what, a quarter to 50 cents? And you're going to get the same experience. It's a beautifully made beer. And I'm sure they spent quite a bit to be able to produce it. It's just the value isn't there for me. So just ranking it honestly based on the taste and not the cost, I would still have to say a 6. Nonetheless, though, good showing, Mountain Fork. Will I be coming back to you? Hell yes, I will. My favorite film series. There are a lot of film series, and I don't know how to answer this because it could be 10 films in a series, and if you don't like one of them, but you like all the films in a 3-part series, is that your favorite? Which do you turn to more often? I don't know how to answer this question. It's going to be something stupid, something fantasy related, like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, or Harry Potter. I haven't revisited them in a long time, but I really liked the Pirates of the Caribbean series. I was big on X-Men for a long time, but what they did in 1 or 2 of those films just felt like it completely erased everything that happened in the past, like it never mattered. That bugged me. Star Wars, meh. Something I want to say, I don't know what the hesitation is, but I even have a poster up on my wall in our movie room here. It's the Ocean's films. I really love those films. I think the 11 and 13 I've given just solid 5s to, which is my highest rating. The middle one kind of falls apart for some reason for me. It just doesn't feel, it feels more based on like certain romantic scenarios and certain characters as opposed to all of them. And it just sort of falls flat, and the reliance on celebrity and stuff in that one just breaking the fourth wall. Still a really good film. And that series is spectacular. And I have missed at least 50 film series that are great. Some that are absolutely atrocious. And that's probably what the question should have been, is what's your least favorite film series? Maybe in the Banter Bar Journal too. Who knows? I think I am a little drunk after drinking some of these. And
we all are, Shane. Thanks to you. So, all right, best film series. Y'all shut up. I'm going to say Scream. What's the best film series?
Back to the Future.
Back to the Future. Okay, you're too quiet, but.
Back to the Future.
Bye.
We are going to call that here. So let's keep the conversation going in the comments. I and whoever is with me, unless it's just me, which is unlikely. Anyway, I and whoever is with me will see you next week, same time, same place, for another round of the Banter Bar. Farewell, beer snobs.
I'll just leave you a little sip in case you want to go back.
I appreciate the sip. I think I could drink quite a bit of this.
I just want to see how it feels in my mouth.
I guess we'll see you next time.
On the Banter Bar.